Did you know that 34% of organizations are good at collecting and analyzing HR-related data? And that organizations that are good at HR analytics are usually good at using it to influence positive change in organizations. Well, there is much more on that in the HR Research Institute report that is titled The State of Big Data and Analytics. To unravel the mysteries of HR insights and analytics, I have with me today John Cusack, Chief Commercial Officer at Active 8 Intelligence. John, welcome to the series on the future of HRTech.
It's my pleasure, Thomas, and delighted to join you from Dublin, slightly cooler than your location.
Yeah, thanks, John. Well, John, HR insights and analytics is actually the new frontier in HR technology. But having said that, most HCM and HRMS platforms today have pretty good dashboards and reports. So, tell me, what does Active 8 bring to the table? And are there perhaps some success stories around HCM and HRMS integrations that you can talk of?
Yes, most certainly, and I can be quite specific about some of the customers of one of our partners. The partner is called the Liaison Group, and they deal with lots of hospitals in the UK, the NHS, the National Health Service. So key for their clients was, first of all, to combine permanent workers with temporary workers, because 7% of their workforce were temporary workers and they came in various systems. So you can imagine trying to manage that organization and not having that whole of workforce view. So one of the first successes for Liaison was bringing that temporary and permanent workforce together, but not just bringing it together, making sense of it, and then drawing insights from it. And they did draw significant insights that led to changes in work practices and to, it shone a lot on some expenditure that the finance directors were quick to jump on and reduce. Yeah. So for us, I think it's a combination of things. I think one is delivering to the customer when you've made sense of the data rather than just bringing it together. And I think it also, if you do that, it lowers the total cost of ownership and lowers the speed to implement. And both of those things are important these days, where our customers are more cost conscious in this COVID world.
Yeah. So John, when you look at an HRMS or an HCM platform, they give a certain output, right, in terms of reports and so on. Now, how would you, embellish that and make that more relevant and actionable using Active 8?
Okay. So the job one for Active 8 is to work with the people who know the data, and that's typically our partners. We combine their knowledge of the data, our expertise of making data work for people. And we have a philosophy which is called Think, Prepare, Present. We try and think through what the end user needs to get from the data. We prepare the data. And once you've done those two jobs, the presentation of the information is an easier part. The users don't have to worry about doing calculations, don't have to worry about where it is.
Right.
And then we distill the whole HR ecosystem down onto one screen. And that's quite important in this very, very busy world. On top of distilling all the data down onto one screen, we automatically find the insights. So we have analyzers, as we call them, or insights finders, who go looking through the data for things that are statistically significant and important in HR terms. And if it finds that, it will turn that into a sentence, be it English, Dutch, French, Indian, and present that to the user so that it's accessible. So that's what we do. We go beyond the sort of consolidating of the data side of things. We recognize that people managers are very, very busy, and we recognize that the challenge that sets for the chief HRO officer, they need to be able to both inform and focus all their line managers around the organization. And if you've got multiple systems with multiple dashboards,
right,
we all know the managers aren't going to go into that. Yeah. So that's a key issue to address. And I think it was Sierra Cedar, their recent survey said that the typical organization had 11 systems with employee data. You're not going to get a manager to go into even half that.
Right.
Just giving them one screen is a real plus.
Yeah. So I think that's an interesting point you raised, because that's really linked to my second question, which is that enterprises have an HCM or an HRMS platform, but because of the fact that there are an array of best of breed HR tech solutions out there, it could be in talent acquisition, employee engagement, rewards and recognition, and so on and so forth, and the HCM may not have these great capabilities with some of these HR tech verticals. So the issue and the challenge that a lot of CHROs that I have met say, really the question they ask is, how can I get a consolidated view, of data, analysis, insights, action plan from all these disparate systems? And you did mention single view, but how does that actually happen?
Okay.
So I'm assuming you have a solution. So how would it actually happen, and how would you make it work? Yeah.
Well, there's two parts to the solution, really. One is, the preparing of the data, getting the data into a position where you can unlock the insights. And the second part is unlocking those insights. Let's just step back again. The first principle of management is if you can't measure it, you can't manage it, right? So we've taken that on board. We've looked at that, and we've looked at the end users. Everybody is really, really busy. Everybody has lots of systems for their work, but also a lot of systems and apps for their personal life. So they're a little bit overloaded, a little bit always on. So we say, look, find and show the insights that need to be managed, and then support them on that journey to manage them. But it's not enough. Most dashboards will tell you, well, here's your absenteeism for the last 12 months by department. Here's your early churn. Here's your turnover, or whatever. What the CHRO needs to know is specifically, where do I direct my team? Are there specific cohorts of employees, like males under 12 in Delhi, under 24 in Delhi, which require attention because of their absenteeism, their turnover, their performance, whatever it is, so that they can, as you say, direct their resources.
Yeah, great. So thanks, John, for that. So the other point to move on from here, and you did give that sense in your initial example as well, is that, really for HR analytics to be effective, we need to be able to connect what is in HR with what the business is also trying to achieve. So really move from what people say traditionally was efficiency thinking, which is really looking at a lot of data and HR data and analyzing it, to what is now, what a CXO of a company, we're just not talking about just a CHRO, but what a CXO of a company would say is impact thinking, right? So,
Yes.
So can you take us through an example, perhaps another one, of how Activate, makes that happen?
I can. Let me tell you what our product is called and why it's called that. And it's actually called Illuminate HR. Illuminate as in shine a light.
Right.
And it's called that for two reasons. One is to shine a light on the data and to specifically hone in on the issues that should be addressed. So that's the first part of trying to have an impact, know where the biggest issues are, where you can have the biggest impact by addressing your resources. The slogan or the tagline of our product is called Impact Through Insights.
Okay.
So how do you create an impact once you know the insight? Well, you need to support. It's all about managers making decisions. And one thing that we've learned in Activate over 15 years in HR analytics is that not all the answers are in the data. The system is quite good at telling you why something is wrong. It's not really perfect at telling you it tells you what's wrong. It's not very good at telling you why it's wrong. And to find out why it's wrong, we do support the organization or the manager in telling them the root causes of it, things that might affect it. It will present content, which might be content that a previous manager has put in, saying how I dealt with this issue. And the second part of the Illuminate is that we illuminate the pathway forward to resolve the problem. So to get impact, to me, it's A, knowing where you should address your time, and B, knowing what to do about it. And sometimes that's collaborating with colleagues, because we build in that collaboration. We recognize that we're telling the user what's wrong, and sometimes a little bit of why it's wrong, but we're conscious that it's not always definitive.
Yeah, so John, finally tell me what's next on the product roadmap of Activate. I mean, what are some exciting new things that we can expect in the short and medium term?
Well, we call it a value continuum. We talk about 5 parts to it. One is, out of the box, when a customer opens up their product and they've loaded their data, that they've got best practice, analysis, reporting, insights, my metrics, all of those things are there. They don't have to, no setup, etc. That's the first thing. We then build on that with the presenting of the insights. So automatically find them. That's a big change, where normally they have to go into the dashboards to drill down, A, and they hope they find something, B, and they hope they recognize it. Now the system finds those things for them and presents them in a nice, simple sentence. We will then, once they know the insight, inform their decision. We talked about the root causes, we talked about the content, we talked about collaboration. So now I'm getting all the information I need to make a decision. But normally when you make a decision, it's not instantaneous. I just turn a switch. We're dealing with people. That's going to take weeks and months to implement, so that you can maybe turn down a negative trend in absenteeism or whatever it is. So we talk about driving actions with behavioral nudges. Now, behavioral nudges are really just words to talk about tapping into someone's competitive spirit. So you might say, Thomas, if you continue to reduce your early churn, you would be in the top 5 regional managers. No matter how bad things are for the insight we're looking at, it will find something positive to present to you so that you can feel motivated, and it will continue over time to present those to you. It will measure the impact on the key metric that you're trying to impact and related metrics, and it'll pop up again some both insights and behavioral nudges in that. So it's staying the course to make sure not just presenting you with an actionable insight, but that you make an impact on that. So we call it a value continuum, and it continues analyzing and continues motivating and keeps that going round and round.
Right. So thanks so much, John, for those impactful insights. And I think the timing is absolutely right for an integrated HR analytics platform. That's a huge pain area for a lot of CHROs and CXOs and companies. And for our viewers, we hope you enjoyed this conversation, and keep watching our series on Future of HR Tech with me, your host, Thomas Abraham.